it, people? So the other day I was just, using a squatting toilet in Korea, and I thought, man, remember the first time I used a squatting toilet in Korea and I almost fell bum first into my own pee? Fun times. And then I thought, man, remember all my other first times in Korea? Fun times. And then I thought, why not make a video on experiencing culture shock? And now we're here. So what happens is, when you go to a new country, you will probably experience this thing called culture shock. Now I feel like there should be varying degrees of culture shock. Because sometimes you'll visit a country and the culture difference is not that shocking. It's more like culture surprise or like culture, that's interesting. For example, if you go from South Africa to England, you will experience more like culture, that's interesting. Because that happens when a country colonizes another country and stuffs their culture down the people's throats. The people of the colonized country basically share the same culture as the colonizers. But I digress. If you go from a country like South Africa to a country like South Korea, chances are you're going to experience culture shock, because that is a shock to the system. You see, the culture in South Africa is so completely different. Just picture a culture that is the complete opposite of yours and then multiply that by 1,000,000, and that's how different the two cultures are. So let's just start with the squatting toilet. I should just say that there are obviously Western toilets in South Korea, but you do get the odd place where you will find a squatting toilet. And when you gotta go, you gotta go, as Jeff Goldblum once said.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
I remember the first time I used a squatting toilet in Korea, I was traumatized for life. Because this is what happens. You'll get to the squatting toilet, and what you need to do is, after you pull down your pants, you need to squat, because it's a squatting toilet. And then you need to focus all your thinking into the peeing process. Because let me tell you something, your mind will wander for like a split second. And next thing you know, and don't ask me what the science is behind this, next thing you know, your pee has just gone off in that direction, and you've peed all over your bloody shoes and all over the toilet floor. And then it looks like there was a pee massacre in your toilet cubicle. If you are living in Korea and you're a girl, obviously, and you've used a squatting toilet, please let me know if this happens to you. I'm pretty sure that this happens to everyone. Like, if you're not concentrating on a squatting toilet, your pee somehow changes angles and does its own thing. Trust Western people to create a toilet where you don't even have to use any thinking. You just literally put your bum down and just let everything go, and you're done. Trust the Asians to make a toilet where you actually have to think when you pee. Then you've got your table manners. Burping loudly after a meal, completely normal. Slurping coffee or any liquid for that matter, normal. Now I remember when you were taught by your mother, don't talk with your mouth full at the table. Yeah, that's not a thing here. And it's totally normal to talk with your mouth full here. They'll start a conversation, but their mouths will still be full of food. You're not even going to listen to them because you're just going to be so distracted. You're going to be so focused on watching the kimchi rolling around in their mouths as they talk, while praying that they don't spit it out and some of it lands on your face. Next thing, you've been so focused on the kimchi rolling around in their mouths and praying that some of it doesn't land on your face that you haven't even noticed that they're actually asking you a question. And then they're like, Sam, did you hear me? And you're like, oh, cock. And then you just say kimchi, hoping that's the answer to their question. Next, Korean people tend to ask questions that wouldn't really be asked back in my country anyway. How old are you? Do you have a boyfriend? Are you married? You have babies? How much is your pay? How much do you weigh? Would you like anything else while you're at it? My banking pin, perhaps? Now, when I first got asked these questions, I was rather alarmed because, these are not very appropriate questions to ask someone, especially when you just meet them. But in Korea, it's perfectly normal, especially the age thing. It's perfectly normal to ask about your age because, in Korea, they kind of have like this hierarchy thing going and they need to find out how old you are to like ascertain like whether you are older or younger, and this will then determine how they should speak to you, what kind of language to use towards you. If you're older, you will use different language as kind of like a respect thing. If you're younger, you can use more casual language, that type of thing. Now, of course, I'm totally used to it. Now it's just part of everyday conversation. Fun icebreaker, Now, hugging. Well, back in my country anyway, hugging is part of our greeting. Yeah, in Korea, not so much. And I learned this the hard way. I tried to greet a Korean person and I just went straight in for the hug because that's what we do back where I'm from. We're huggers. They say South Africans are dangerous. I mean, we are, but that doesn't mean we don't like to hug. So anyway, I met a Korean person and I greeted her and I went straight in for the kill. For the hug. Still on the South African thing. And I would say that her reaction was slightly dramatic. She got such a fright that she actually kind of jumped back and almost hit the wall behind her. And then it just went downhill from there, and then it went into like one of those awkward side hug / pat on the shoulder. It was awkward for everyone. It was traumatizing for everyone. I will say though that hugging is becoming better, especially the younger generations. I find with my students, they initiate the hug. With the older generation, not so much. And it obviously just depends on the person. Now this one, I think this was the most difficult to adjust to coming to Korea, and that is the focus on being in a group, the focus on community, the focus on doing things together versus individuality, like being an individual in Western countries. And this was obviously really difficult for me because, forever alone. Anyway, I find it totally okay doing things by myself. I have no problem going shopping by myself, and I have no problem going to a restaurant and sitting down by myself. I have no issue going for a coffee by myself. I don't even have a problem going to the movies by myself. But in Korea, that's kind of like, it's not taboo, but it's just not done, because things in Korea should be done with other people. It's that focus on togetherness, bonding, being social, and just all the things that I'm not good at. So when you go to a lot of restaurants in Korea, you will find that the servings start from 2 people. Does it look like I have another person with me? Does it look like I want to share my food with anyone? And sometimes you will go to a restaurant and you will get rejected. Like they will actually turn you away because you need to have at least 2 people to eat something. I'm not saying that this happened to me once, twice, maybe 4 times. I'm just saying that these things can happen. Sometimes you walk into a restaurant and the waiter will say, 1 person? And then he'll be like, sorry, but these meals are for 2 people or more. So actually you can't eat here. And your world comes crashing down because you realize just how alone and sad you are. Again, this didn't happen to me. It happened to someone else. Another big shock to my system when I first got here was just how fast-paced Korean life is. This was a huge shock for my little third world heart. Korean people are just always in a hurry. God knows why they're in such a hurry, but they're always in a hurry. They don't just walk, they march. In fact, they're just short of bolting to wherever it is that they're going. Koreans don't wait for no one. They're not waiting for Godot. They're not waiting for anyone. They're going. And you better be going too. I don't know where, but as long as you're going and at the same speed as them. And if you're not going at the same speed as them, you best bet that they're gonna shove you out the way so that they can go to wherever they're going faster. South Africans have time. In fact, when we say that we're gonna start something at 10 a.m., we don't actually mean we're gonna start it at 10 a.m. No, we were just giving like a rough estimate. We just want you to like amble over at like 10 a.m. and maybe, just maybe, we'll start at 10:30 if you're lucky. And I guess that's why Koreans are always in such a hurry, because if they say that something is starting at 10 a.m., you better get your butt there at 9:57. Because no one's waiting for you. At 10 a.m. they're starting. And you see, what happens is you're gonna go back to your country, wherever you come from, and you're gonna experience this thing called reverse culture shock. So now when I go back to South Africa, I am frustrated as hell because people are too damn slow. Yeah, so South Africa's really chilled compared to South Korea. Don't even get me started on Cape Townians. Cape Townians are so chilled. They're so relaxed. You know, don't even bother sending a Cape Townian an email on a Friday because they're definitely not going to look at it. Forget sending a reply. They're not even looking at it because they've stopped work on a Thursday at like 12 p.m. But I digress. Well, there you go. Those are just some of the ways I experienced a bit of culture shock in South Korea. It's definitely going to happen to you. It happened to me. It happens to everyone. But it gets better over time. And before you know it, you won't even notice these things happening. It'll just be a way of life. As always, if you liked the video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on all the social medias, and I will see you next week with another video. Goodbye!
When you gotta go, you gotta go.